Are you having a hard time keeping up with your keys, your glasses, your wallet for, I don't know, the 5th time this week? Or maybe you missed that pre-meeting for the really big important meeting that you actually had on your calendar. Or maybe it's just me, but you're trying to figure out how $157 magically jumped out of your account. And you're saying now for the millionth time, I've got to get organized. Well, there's no time like the present, and it's actually not as involved or taxing as one might think. And it could really have a big impact on your mental health. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the impact that disorganization and organization can have on your mental health and give you a few tips to get started. If you're interested, please keep watching. Hi there, I'm Dr. Erika, and on this channel, we encourage radical change to inspire far-reaching impact. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the impact that organization and even disorganization can have on your mental health. So I don't know about anybody else, but when my spaces are a mess, like my bedroom or my car or my office, my brain tends to feel that way too, disorganized with things out of sorts and things everywhere. And so I tend not to be as on it or with it as I would be if things were neat and tidy, or even if everything was just in the place that I had given it. And so there are actually studies that talk a little bit about the impact of things like clutter and disorganization on your physical health, because things like dust, pet dander, and all these things that impact our allergies gather on things that don't have a place, and they can impact our physical health in the way that we feel, kind of absorbing those things into our system. Also, if we have things in our kitchen like clutter or disorganization or even dirty dishes, those things can actually cause us not to cook or not to want to be as present in our kitchen, which can lead to more eating out, which can also impact the way that we feel. And so I think that one thing that we are learning is that when things have an impact on our physical health, they can, for doggone sure, have an impact on our mental health too. And so that's what we're going to be thinking about today. So a lack of organization can definitely impact our mood and can contribute to feelings of depression and anxiety, and even cause underperformance in areas that we actually desire to show up and perform. Whether it's physical or mental disorganization, so physical clutter in our space, or we haven't really gotten our thoughts out the way that we'd like them to. All of these things can help us develop a very distorted view of what we have to tackle and really make sense of it, as well as our progress on it. And so then those things can create worry and unnecessary distress, and it's like a never-ending vicious cycle. We have the thing, we worry about it, we don't really do anything with the thing, and so therefore we worry more, and it just goes round and round and round. Some of the benefits of organizing your life can include improved sleep, reduced stress, better relationships, honestly. You can focus on things that you're actually interested in, and devote energy to improving these areas, and not focusing on things that may be able to be tackled a lot more readily, and lead to increased productivity and a reduction in depression and anxiety. And so that's one of the main reasons that we'd like to tackle some of the disorganization in our life, so we can have improved emotional wellness. Now, when we take better care of our spaces and the things that are disorganized, what we're essentially saying is that I'd like to take better care of myself. I'd like to prioritize myself. I am equally important as all of this other work that may be assigned, and it's important for my space to reflect that. We can see an improvement in our attitude, or even our push for time. So there's no more rushing around 20 minutes before we have to go because we have to find our keys and our bag and our wallet. Those things are already ready and together when we develop a system, and therefore we free ourselves of those responsibilities. Now for some tips around developing an organized space. And so I'm going to actually use my planner as an example as we go through those. And so I actually have two. One for more kind of personal use and things that fall outside of maybe timed materials or timed appointments. And then I have a typical agenda that has 15-minute increments. And that's how I tend to organize my timed events. So that's what we'll focus on. So first, you want to define clutter and disorganization. So what may be chaos for you, like a pair of shoes left in the living room, is workable for me. I can do a pair of shoes. A good rule of thumb is that if the amount of stuff that keeps you from being really present and in the moment is there, that's probably going to be your clutter. And so piles distracting you every time that you go to relax, that's probably considered clutter. Stuff that is in your way for a future project that's keeping you from completing the project at hand, that's probably clutter. And those are things that you want to work on reducing. So in my planner, there was a time that I had a lot of fun, pretty cutesy things. And it was really important for me to take those things out because they really kept me from really feeling like I could be organized. Now, if you're just getting started, you want to actually pick a space that might be easiest to tackle or is most important for you to have organization where you don't currently have it. This can be a place where you read daily, or you maybe do work daily, or your work bag, or your medicine cabinet, or your underwear drawer, or your planner or agenda. So something that you either feel like could be easy to tackle first or where you need the most organization right now. It doesn't have to be a big space to make a big impact on how you feel as far as your well-being. Now, one thing that you want to do is to be able to do 5 to 15-minute tidies. And so what that looks like for me with my agenda is I have 5 to 15 minutes either at the beginning or end of my day where I go through and take a look at those tasks that I need to take care of, or look at items that I can check off or clean up or clear out. And so I set a timer so that I don't spend a ton of time outside of my regular routine time. But it allows me to really kind of go through and clean up these areas. So in your kitchen, for example, that may look like setting the timer and doing a quick put the dishes away out of the dishwasher, or rinsing of the dishes, or wiping down the counters. But you set 5 to 15 minutes and that's it, right? And so once the timer goes off, you're done. And this will give you a fresh space for the next time that you enter it. So allowing me cleaning up and allowing time to kind of clean up my agenda means that when I open it, everything that I actually have been able to take care of gets wiped clean, and I have a fresh start for the next day. You want to create a routine that is realistic for you. So don't say I'm going to clean for 2 hours, or I'm gonna, set aside a whole day to get this space organized every Saturday. That's not realistic, but you do want to create a system. So for my agenda, I sit on Sundays and I take about 2 hours to kind of plan out the week. I cross-reference my paper agenda with my virtual calendars and make sure that all of the appointments are in line and in one of these 2 notebooks. That is my routine every Sunday, and I do it Sunday evening before I start to wind down and get ready for the week. And that's been really helpful for me in just kind of making sure that I have a routine and that there's organization in these areas that are super important for me. Now, once you set a routine, it's not set in stone. So feel free to come back and review it as often as you feel that you need to. Another good tip is that everything that you own has a home and it should live there. So anytime that I pull out pens or stickers or washi tape to set down and do my agenda, I make sure that I put it back. So if you think about you want to be returned home every day. And so why wouldn't you return your things? Making sure that your things have a home and a place is a surefire way that they don't get left in all of the random areas or fall into the crooks and crannies and you don't see them for years and years and years. So if you set up a place for something to go, make sure that you return it after you use it. That way you can find it and it's not misplaced. Have your routine or your schedule or your expectations visual so that you can always come back to it. So if you have a particular cleaning schedule, or if you like to have your desk a certain way, having that visual allows you to know what the expectation is, so that if you defer from it or deter from it, having that expectation visual allows that if you kind of veer off from that, you have an idea of what it looks like to come back to. So for me, that looks like I have in my agenda a monthly review. And so in my planning system, I have things that I need to update monthly, things that I need to update weekly and daily. So daily, things like setting my priorities, transferring action items that didn't happen the next day. But those are things that I kind of have at the front and center of my planner that I can check in on every day, or regularly. Let's be honest, if not every day, at least every week, to make sure that I am operating in a system that works for me. My last tip for getting started organizing or reorganizing is to give yourself grace. Organization doesn't always come naturally, and it's not something that everyone kind of really super enjoys. And so if you desire to have more organization in your life, I encourage you to give yourself grace as you try this new thing and this new process. And so one of the things that I'd like to end with are some affirmations around organization that we can speak over this process as we grow and learn together. So, ready? Let's go. We'll take some deep breaths. All right. We possess great organizational skills. We enjoy living in clear, organized spaces. We remember our plans and appointments. Our minds are clear and focused. Others view us as reliable and organized. We are capable of organizing our lives and our minds. We make each moment count today, and we will do the same when tomorrow comes. If you've enjoyed this content and you'd like to see more about how psychology can walk and talk and show up in your everyday life, feel free to subscribe, drop me a comment, or leave me a message, and let me know what you'd like to see. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.